I've got an amendment. The amendment eliminates funding for the Department of Treasury's Community Development Financial Institutions Fund. This amendment, if drafted, would save $280 million in fiscal year 24. I will emphasize one more time that in putting together all these appropriation bills, the goal of all congressmen should be to reduce the level of spending. In the year just wrapped up, we are borrowing 22% of every dollar spent. If you're borrowing 22% of every dollar spent, you have a big problem. Even if we stick to the numbers that we agreed to in the raising the debt limit bill, next year the amount we're borrowing will be equal to 23% of every amount spent. So we have a real crisis here. Things are getting worse and worse. As we go through these appropriation bills, like I said, we should be looking for ways to spend less money and return it to the Treasury. The CDFI fund provides grants to community development financial institutions, community development entities, and other private financial institutions. Because of that, this amendment not only saves money, but saves money by taking away money from a fund that frequently results in public-private partnerships. I think there's nothing worse than public-private partnerships because it means what you're doing is you wind up enriching already wealthy people at the expense of the taxpayer and allowing people in the community to become wealthier, not by necessarily doing something that's better for the community or successful in the free market. You become wealthier by schmoozing with the local elected officials. I think it is corporate welfare. I don't like corporate welfare. I think over time, more and more people are getting wealthy, not by providing something that would be winnable in the free market, but they do something by taking advantage of grants and credits offered by the government. I'll quote the Heritage Foundation here. The only rigorous empirical assessment of the NMTC to date found the program to be largely ineffective in meeting its goals of increasing community investment and development. The study found that most CDE investments were relocated investments rather than new net investments. In other words, transferring one business to another area, suggesting that all NMTC investments do not likely represent new funds to low-income communities. President Trump tried to eliminate this in his 2021 budget, which showing that President Trump was sometimes a president who was pushing for less spending. In his budget, they noted that the CDFI fund was created to jumpstart an industry at a time when CDFIs had limited access to private capital. The CDFI industry now has ready access to capital needed to extend credit and offer financial services to underserved community, eliminating the need for such grants. In the interest of ending cronyism, saving some tax dollars, stopping government waste, and getting rid of a program that I think too frequently makes wealthy development types still wealthier, I urge a yes vote on this amendment. I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. For what purpose does the gentleman from Arkansas seek recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I claim time in opposition to the gentleman's amendment.
The gentleman is recognized.
I rise in opposition. Community development financial institutions stimulate economic growth and create and sustain employment opportunities in rural and low-income areas, like a lot of America. The CDFI fund ensures CDFIs are able to provide these underserved communities access to capital by awarding certified CDFIs with tax credits and monetary support. I'm proud that my own state greatly benefits from the CDFI fund and have seen the far-reaching impact it's had on the community. Defunding the program would only serve to harm the most vulnerable communities in America. So it's under that pretense, Mr. Chairman, that I oppose the amendment, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
I'll just make one more point here. Assuming some of this money benefits Americans, not just the wealthy wheeler dealers, we right now, at least if Wisconsin is any indication, have huge surpluses in our state coffers. If it's a good idea, it should be handled by the states, not by the federal government that is broke out of its mind. One of the reasons we're so broke is I think too many of my colleagues don't look at the Constitution and realize that some things are supposed to be handled by the state and local government and other things are supposed to be handled by the federal government. By the time you drip the money down by the federal government, there's a huge amount of waste there. And in any event, in the interest of trying to keep our dollar, the strong currency it's been throughout our lifetime, I urge adoption of this amendment and send these programs back to the states.
Does the gentleman reserve or yield?
I reserve the remainder of my time.
The gentleman reserves. The gentleman from Arkansas is recognized.
For the reasons stated previously, I urge rejection of the amendment. Yield back the balance of my time.
The gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Wisconsin is recognized.
I yield the remainder of my time as well.
The gentleman yields.